It was soul destroying. The most frightening night of my life. I'm gonna cry now. Yeah, not something you want to do ever, is to see your child that unwell that you think you might not take him home.
Sam had a bit of croup, and it was quite late in the night, and Karen took him to the hospital, and I stayed home with the other children. And during the night, Karen gave a phone call because they'd said, if you need to ring someone, you better ring them now, because it was his life was on the line. And so that was really hard for me, not being there, not being able to do anything. So that was quite emotional for me.
So Sam was born what they call late preterm, and we were warned we could have problems, but he was a healthy baby. But about 3 months old, he caught what I would say was his first cold, and he started coughing and didn't ever really stop. That went through till he was probably about 8 months old before we started to think something's not quite right here.
We were actually living out in the country, a small country town with no medical facilities. We had quite a few scary episodes, standing in the bathroom with the shower running as hot water, trying to get as much steam as we can, trying to get air into his lungs and open up his lungs while we wait for the ambulance to attend.
I was really loving the country and the country life, but we made the decision to move to Metro to be closer to health services. Sam's care was a priority, and we needed to be closer to a major hospital for that. There was certainly talk of an asthma at that stage, but he was so little. It's really hard to get a definitive diagnosis on them when they're that young. So it becomes sort of years of trialling stuff to see if you get improvement before you can actually definitively know what's happening. So we were first referred over to PCH when he was about 18 months old, but it wasn't until he was about 6 years old that we got the definitive asthma diagnosis. The diagnosis was great because what it meant for us was we could start to plan more effectively. We understood what was happening for Sam, we understood why. So for us that became a real change of family life, I guess, because with the plan and knowing what we were dealing with, Sam's asthma was more under control, so it wasn't such a big part of our life. We could keep him well for longer.
So every day I'd start off brushing my teeth and then have 2 puffs of my Sympacort and then do the same at the end of the day. And I also have a singular tablet every morning. And if I ever need in the day, I will have my Bricanol, which is like a mini Ventolin. And then if it keeps getting worse during the day, I'd have Ventolin, and at night.
So for many years, again, he loved sport, but he was always missing out. He was always sick. He was never able to, run the full race. He was never able to finish the full game. But now that we've got a really tight management plan around his asthma and he's doing well, he wants to play every sport that there is. We've had to tie him back to 2 per season, plus swimming. He gets to swim all year round, but he would add in a sport every day if we let him.
When I grow up, I want to be a professional athlete or a biomedical engineer.
I grew up and I knew people with asthma, and I guess I never took it as serious as what it is. I believe your kids have a puff on an asthma thing and then go and play their sport, and that's all there was to it. It was only when Sam was presented with this brittle asthma and it's that close to death that you realised how dangerous a disease this is.
The thing that most upsets me around the views of asthma in the community is the just asthma. I don't think it's fair to put just before asthma. Asthma is incredibly serious. It's life-threatening.
If we can find a cure for asthma, it would change the life of thousands and thousands of Australians and people all around the world. It's one of the more prevalent diseases, and if we can find a cure, it'd change so many people's lives.
Money for research and treatments are life-saving and life-changing for so many families. Without them, our kids remain sick, and without them, our kids don't get a lifestyle that they deserve.